Hello Internet, my name is Taliesin, and this is my story. Back in May 2018, I made myself a promise. A long-necked, dinosaur-shaped auction house kind of promise. There was only one problem.
It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I want it, can I have it?
I mean, I don't see why not. Let me just check the price tag and holy shit, this mount costs 5 million gold, Taliesin.
If I was ever going to stand a chance of owning the giant sauropod Longboy, I was going to have to do something that I'd never done before in World of Warcraft. I was going to have to learn how to make some gold.
I've finally done it, Evertel. It's taken me literally the entire expansion and Shadowlands is about to release, but I've done it. I've made 5 million gold.
Oh, wow. Tally, that's great. Are you going to use it to buy a boost so you can finally get cutting edge for one?
No, I'm gonna buy the Longboy. I promised myself way back in May 2018 that I would, and it's taken me a little bit longer than I hoped, mostly because I kept spending gold on race and name changes.
Oh yeah, why did you change your rogue's name to Andrew York again?
Because he doesn't sweat, Evertel. That's not the point. The point is that for the first time in my life, I've actually achieved something. I actually had a goal and I got there. And when I buy this Longboy in literally like a couple of seconds, it will prove that I am not a total loser. And what's that noise?
Oh my god. I think it's a meteorite. It is! Well, I guess that's not available anymore.
I'm gonna get a mythic boost.
Good idea.
Knowledge is power.
Hello Internet, Taliesin here, and welcome to another weekly reset, Taliesin and Evertel's Wondrous Wisdom Show, in a week that honestly, we're expecting to be quite quiet. Like, with the current patch being very much on the wind down at the moment, and with 8.3 not coming out until the new year, and with Shadowlands information trickling out randomly, but not abundantly, and with Classic Phase 2 settling in nicely, we were genuinely wondering if there was going to be enough to fill a whole episode this time out. I'm not gonna lie, we were thinking maybe we'd take a week off, spend the weekend carefree, kicking leaves in the park, wearing big sweaters, drinking spiced latte and living our best autumn man and autumn women lives. But it turns out that has most definitely not been the case, as Blizzard made this week one of those let's update the PTR with a whole new ton of stuff that everyone is going to be very keen to talk about. Oh, and while we're there, let's drop a big unexpected classic announcement. Oh, and actually this will be fun, let's even put out some interesting new Shadowlands abilities for people to pour over, and unlucky Taliesin, no spiced latte for you. Well, joke's on you, Blizz, because I don't even like spiced latte, but I do really like talking about WoW. So let's get started. And obviously, the main thrust of today's episode is going to be all those tremendously juicy 8.3 details, because they are the kind of details that honestly are either going to make you say, ah yes, that's exactly what I wanted. 8.3 is going to be awesome and bodacious and gnarly. Probably. Or they're going to make you say, no Blizzard, this is exactly what I didn't want Blizzard, 8.3 is the worst patch ever, bad Blizzard, naughty Blizzard in your bed. And I can't wait to help you find out which side of the divide you land on. But we'll have to wait though, because I want to just go through the classic news first of all. Because do you remember last week when we had fun getting slaughtered in the merciless unstructured killing fields of Phase 2 as hordes of marauding world PvPers marauded across Azeroth, but mostly Fralis, Hillsbrad, every flight path and every dungeon entrance, racking up honor kills and sometimes not honor kills with no formal battlegrounds to contain us, I mean them. Well, Blizzard have now announced that they are going to push Warcong Gulch and Alterac Valley, battlegrounds that were supposed to be part of Phase 3 in early 2020, forward to a December the 10th release date, which, and look, you remember the comments last week, right? This is obviously good news, and everyone could totally agree that it was good news. Way too soon. Crybabies destroying WoW again. God forbid people actually have to play the game too soon. Crybabies win once again. Thank you, camped streamers and your Twitch Hey piggies, that's dump. Okay, almost everyone, most people. PvE server players are happy because they finally get some PvP, I guess, and you know they love PvP because that's why they play on a PvE server. And okay, maybe if you were looking forward to a golden age of freeform open world murder fun times, I can see why this might disappoint you somewhat. I guess the romantic idea of awesome huge groups of opposing factions squaring off outside Gadgetsam because it's legit the only way to get honor will be a lot less likely now. But I'm pretty sure you can still put together raids and camp flight points just as much as you like, and let's be honest, that's what you were doing anyway, so nothing's changed. Also coming on December the 10th will be the Elemental Invasions, which has a bunch of elementals invading Ungoro, Ashara, Winterspring, and Silithus for no real reason or reward. They're just a weird, cool thing that Blizzard added a ways into vanilla. Sometime before they added Battlegrounds, I might add, hashtag no changes. Where's the uproar about this one? And which got removed in Kata, but you can't even gank them, so what's the point? And so, to that 8.3 loveliness and the Visions of N'zoth, the patch that this week has seen a significant number of changes, but especially to one of the most important and hotly debated of all gameplay systems, gearing and itemization. This week Blizzard made changes to Azerite Armor, Corrupted Gear, Boss Loot, and Mythic Plus, which all seem to be with that player loot RNG fatigue in mind, and dare I say it, maybe even represent the supposed new direction that Shadowlands is heading in, with a lot of this stuff seeping into Ny'alotha, in a topic that we are going to call the 8.3 Gearing Revolution. Question mark. Spoiler, it's not actually a revolution, more like a couple of people holding placards on a corner, but it's still very interesting. Least interesting first, Azerite Armor. No, wait, don't go. I'll make this bit really quick, I promise, because it looks like each spec will have one specific Azerite trait that is guaranteed to be on every single piece of Azerite gear in the Ny'alotha raid. And that trait is usually, for most specs, a trait that is good, but that doesn't stack its effect. So it's the kind of one where you always want one of that one, yeah? And like I say, that's not the case for every spec. Some, like Havoc and Fury, flat out have their BIS. It's a bit odd, to be honest. I'd love to see a blue post on it to hear Blizzard's reasoning. Does it make Azerite Armor good or satisfying now? Putting it on a vendor who was actually Idris Elba wouldn't manage that, so no. But does it have potential to make Azerite Armor slightly less annoying in a raid? Possibly. I guess we'll see. Oh, and on the subject of Azerite though, and you're gonna like this, the Infinite Azerite trait at level 80 has been removed. Unlike Legion's artifact, which would keep on gobbling up AP forever until you fed it to a massive sword, there is absolutely no point in farming Azerite once you get to level 80. And that means Blizzard listened! They love us, and they love life, and this is everything we've ever wanted, and this is a good game now, right? No more AP farming! I mean, you can actually level it further than 80, and you'll get an extra 2 item levels per step, so actually there is a reason to keep on farming it if you really want, but I'm hoping no one notices that. Thank you, Blizzard! You're the best! And if the endless AP grind is one less thing to worry about, that's good, because Corrupted Gear, or as we call it on this channel, Lovecrafted Gear, famously gives you lots to worry about. The replacement to Titan Forging, which instead of items having a random chance to war or Titan Forge and be higher item level, now have a chance to proc random-ish base stat increases, or some more interesting effects on weapons, but also carry a corresponding amount of corruption, reaching certain thresholds of which will trigger increasingly shitty debuffs that can affect the player, and those debuffs are what have seen some alteration in this latest build. Basically, there's a new one, Cascading Disaster, which triggers Grasping Tendrils and Corrupted Zone if you are struck by the thing from beyond, which you will be, because that little shitbag is a fast little shitbag. Probably the most important change about this is that it pushes the never-ending scaling debuff back to start at level 80 corruption, but yeah, no, sounds horrible. I do not want it happening to me, no thanks. And that's why I like it. From conversations that I've had with numerous cutting-edge raiders about this, it seems that unless you're a class that can really benefit from the crit damage buff, which, let's be honest, is probably going to be nerfed, then honestly, getting your hands on a ton of Lovecrafted gear just isn't a priority since no one really wants to be raiding with even 20 corruption because the corrupted zone just isn't worth it in high-end play. Now obviously the amount that you can wear and stay under that threshold will increase as the patch goes on and you level up Rathian's legendary Cloak of Legendariness and add resistance, but from what I gather, top players are not going to be crossing their fingers hoping for every item drop to Lovecraft like they do now with Titan Forging. And if that's the case, then it does achieve something that Titan Forging doesn't. It can randomly improve lower level gear with extra stats without being something that top players desperately want too. And we don't know how it's going to turn out. It might be terrible. I still think it looks fun personally, but I think it's something that we'll only really get a feel of when it's out in the wild. So in the meantime, let's look at those Mythic Plus changes, because it's about time, you know, that the Dungeoners, the Key Pushers, and other names that sound a bit dirty got some love, and Rise of N'zoth is mixing stuff up for them too. Not just with the newer fix, Corrupted, yeah I know, which is considerably more fun than Beguiling, but obviously nowhere near as fun as Reaping, because you know what is. Not just with a new achievement mount for completing all dungeons at plus 15 in Season 4, but in a change to the loot that drops there. Whereas before, you would look to be completing a plus 10 key to get the highest possible level gear at the end and in your weekly chest. In Season 4, that threshold is going up to 15, where the maximum level gear on completion will be 465, and the weekly chest is going to give you a 475 item, which is Mythic Raid level gear, the best gear in the game, almost. We'll come back to that, but yeah. And what that means is that in Season 4, there is going to be a slight tipping of the scales from spamming 10 to 14 keys to pushing 15s, which, I don't know, feels more philosophically what M+ is supposed to be about, right? And yeah, okay, so for lots of us, 15 isn't exactly a push, but for a huge swathe of the player base, that Mythic Plus difficulty ceiling just got raised considerably. But not without reward, because beat that 15 key every week and your 475 gear in the weekly chest without it having to rely on Warforging or Titan Forging is a massive, plus. It's a good change for people who like Mythic Plus. The big dungeon players in our guild are very happy about it, and so, it must be said, are the forums, which were positively awash with pleasant surprise and excitement about a change that really got to the heart of what makes... No, it was a shit show, obviously. This is stupid! What's new? Battle from a plus? Azeroth. Mythic raiding nerf. Stop buffing stupid Imber 5-man content! Yes, of course, now we have a problem. If the weekly chest drops Mythic raid level loot, does that kind of cheapen Mythic raid progress? You know me, right? I'm a firm believer that Mythic raiding should award the best loot in the game. For me, it's just the toppest tier level content, and even as someone who has literally never got a cutting edge achievement, I still think that. But I also like these changes for the Mythic Plus community, which makes that awesome part of the game more substantially rewarding. If only there was some way we could make Mythic raiding have just that little extra edge when all is said and done. Oh, I know! How about if the last two bosses of Ny'alotha, both of which are N'zoth, but don't worry about that, drop gear which is 10 items higher than anything else in the game? No? Well, tough shit, because that's what's happening. Carapace of N'zoth and N'zoth the Corruptor will drop gear 10 levels higher than anything else in that difficulty of the raid. So for Heroic, that means 470. For Mythic, 485. Better than anything else you can get anywhere. And I'm going to flat out put my cards on the table with this one, okay? Yes. Absolutely yes. Bring that shit on. It's exactly what I want, it's exactly what the player base wants, and for proof, I bid you look no further than the forums, which were basically just a massive street party, but with a forum instead of a street, and instead of a party, a shit show, obviously. Gatekeeping elitists! I'm just going to feel like a lesser person. Well, now I have to raid. I'm honestly considering not playing at all. RIP PvP, it's Cataclysm Dragon Soul all over again! No. Stop. No. I'm not having this, okay? Absolutely not. Sorry. Do you know how many players killed Mythic Ashara this tier? 1%. 1% of players killed the big boss of this entire tier. I was not in that 1%, it will shock you to learn, but if this tier, those players have some items which are 10 levels higher than anything I can get because I don't raid at that level, that doesn't break the game. That's giving players a fair reward for an absolutely awesome achievement. And look, it's not just the mechanics at stake here, there's just a smidgen of RP going on too. Like, I'm sorry you can't get the same level gear from doing a freehold plus 20 as you can from N'zoth, an actual old god in the sleeping city of Ny'alotha on Mythic, but really, if you are going to have gear, which is the best gear in the game, the N'zoth, an actual old god in the sleeping city of Ny'alotha, seems like a pretty fitting place to get it from, if I'm being perfectly honest. It's not like anyone's going to be kitted out in this shit. A weapon and a couple of pieces per armor class, maybe a trinket if they're super lucky, but I am totally in favour of this. Even at heroic level, it will give me and my raid a reason to keep raiding Ny'alotha after we've completed it. And honestly, that's not something I've been able to say about any other tier this expansion, high quality though those raids have been. So this change gets a huge tentacles up from me. Combined, are all the changes and updates to itemization that we've seen this week in the gearing revolution, enough to satisfy those unhappy with the randomness of BFA gearing? No. If there's a proper root and branch rebuild coming, then it'll be Shadowlands when it comes, and the news from there is promising. But is it at least an improvement in 8.3? To my mind, overall, yes. I have a reason to push higher keys than I had before and enjoy that challenge. I have a reason to keep clearing the final raid of the expansion, which is always good news. I don't have to worry about keeping up with my Azerite grind beyond 80, and I'm even pretty confident that Lovecrafted gear is a fun enough upgrade from both Titan Forging and Benthic to make it worthwhile. So yeah, I'm optimistic that in 8.3 I have proper goals that I can identify and work towards, and that's basically the most important thing that I ever ask of this game, really.
More 8.3 stuff, or at least stuff which was going to be 8.3 stuff, which is now actually 8.25 stuff. Legendaries are now transmoggable. As promised in the BlizzCon WoW Q&A, did you watch that Q&A? I mean, I hear it was like especially good this year is all. That's what I heard. I can't even remember why though. The restrictions have been lifted and you are now free to transmog any shitty old weapon you like into Shadowmourne or Atiesh or the Warglaves of Azeroth, or yes, Thunder Fury, within normal transmog rules. And you know, that's really great news for you. I hope you'll be really happy with that. Of course, it's times like this that I remember Tally and I switched from US servers to EU and Warlords and lost everything we had collected on our original accounts up till that point, so I have 0 old legendaries to play around with. I don't even have the Pandaria cloaks, but there's no reason you should feel bad about that. You go ahead and have fun. Back in the PTR, and this week we saw the usual final patch Infinite Augment rune pop up in the data. Just like in Warlords and Legion, this can be obtained by reaching Exalted with the new faction, Rajani, and costs 50,000 gold, which is going to be reduced to 40,000 gold by the time you buy it because you'll be Exalted. That sounds super expensive, doesn't it? Like, you could get an underwhelming Alliance horse for that much gold. But it's actually the exact same price as in Legion, but Ny'alotha has one more boss than in Taurus, so you'll use it more, so actually, it's totally better value than in Legion, right? That's science, and you can't argue with science. We also had a look at a new Vulpera racial ability, Alpaca Saddlebags, which gives your adorable little furry an extra 8 bag slots. And okay, obviously how you react on hearing that news is very dependent on the type of player you are and the kind of things you value in this game, because no, Mythic Raiders don't give a shit about no bag space, and that's perfectly fair. But yes, I really very much like the sound of 8 extra bag slots, even though I totally don't need them. I heard about the extra bag slots and now I would like them. I would very much like the extra bag slots, please. Overall, the Vulpera really do have some of the most pleasingly flavorful racial abilities, and actually combined with Make Camp, which gives you essentially a new Hearthstone you can set anywhere, they're going to be great choices for players who like farming mats and old content, which totally fits their desert scavenger Jawa vibe, and I really like that. And finally today, the news that we kind of opened the episode with, the extinction of the mighty caravan Brutasaur. The glorious Longboy, which has been one of the genuine stars of BFA, whether he be blocking the portal to get to Ashara's platform, or getting slaughtered mercilessly by the Alliance and Dazar'alor. Blizzard have decided he won't be available to buy in Shadowlands. As they put it, like all dinosaurs, the mighty caravan Brutasaur's days are numbered. The lost Platasaur pet and the Palehide Direhorn mount will remain available for purchase. Oh, so actually not quite like all dinosaurs then? That blue post should more accurately read, like no other dinosaurs, the Brutasaur's days are numbered. The Brutasaur is the most expensive mount in the history of the game. It's got a whole heap of prestige attached to it, and unlike the Grand Expedition Yak, which is now very affordable to most players, it will keep that prestige going into future expansions with this decision. And that's not my opinion, that's the opinion of the forums, who are excited by the thought of an already highly desirable and unique mount becoming even more desirable and unique. And the message boards hummed with the excited chatter of gold makers, newly inspired to double their efforts with this new goal, and no, it was a shit show, obviously.
The $560 scandal by Blizzard, predatory move on whalers, how to make your customer upset, a novel written by Blizzard. On Black Market Auction House, the price will triple, worst and greediest decision ever. Well, enough of complaining, going to farm it just to show you aren't going to F with us, and F you. I have only one word for this, Scoomy.
A lot of the conversation around whether this is a total dick move or not seems to focus around the belief that Blizzard is creating artificial scarcity to panic mount collectors who don't already own the Longboy into stumping up as much as £360 in UK money or $570 in WoW tokens to raise the gold you need to buy it. A case of Blizzard exploiting their whalers? And I don't want to dismiss this because it is a serious issue across the video game industry right now. What is in place to protect those with addictive personalities who might be scared into spending this money which they might not be able to afford? Well, you can only buy 20 WoW tokens with real money per week, which is one less than you need to buy the Brutasaur outright in the EU, which as safeguards go is essentially non-existent. I don't feel great about it, and I'd love to hear Blizz talk more about this to try and find a solution. I certainly don't have the answers because I think overall the WoW token is a very consumer-friendly thing, and the vast majority of players aren't going to spend more than they can afford, but if you are one of those people, and you'll almost certainly already know it, and you're tempted by this, just don't. It's only a dumb dinosaur that can't even fly. Give a shit. I don't have it. Tally doesn't have it. You don't need it either. I promise. And for the rest of us who aren't tempted to spend IRL cash but are annoyed that you now have slightly less than a year to raise the gold you need for the brute, good, you're doing it right. I think honestly there's such a gold divide in WoW that it's not unreasonable to say that anyone who could ever afford this mount already has it. So if Blizz taking it out of the game means more people learn how to make a ton of gold that they wouldn't have otherwise, I think that's quite a good thing. I generally enjoy rewards that are only available for a limited time in-game, and in principle, I don't see anything wrong with a gold mount being one of those. I'm just as in awe of those players that are skilled at making in-game currency as I am at those who kill in-game mythic raid bosses or are rated PvP badasses. And yes, all this is very easy for me to say because there is absolutely zero chance I will ever own this mount, because if I had 5 million gold, which I definitely don't, I wouldn't be able to spend it on a mount. Seriously, I can't even bring myself to part with the now minuscule funds needed for the yak. It just physically hurts me to spend gold in-game like that. I've got more chance of owning an actual dinosaur, and I've already got Tally for that.
So are you saying that there's no Brutasaur mount for you at all?
Oh my God.
That's not happening. Do you want us to run a campaign? Do you want us to run a campaign on the channel? Like, do sad music and like, help Evertel get her Brutasaur.
No.
Send her gold.
Don't want
Send
your
her
help.
all of your gold.
Don't want your charity.
Evertel,
I don't
Argent
want it.
Dawny you.
I don't want
Just saying.
Evertel with a little dash.
No, you do want it! You do! Oh, rumbled!
I don't.
Rumbled!
I don't. The thing is, if I was gonna get the dinosaur mount, I probably would have tried to have gotten it by now.
I feel like trying is a very important part.
Try is very
of it.
important. It literally did not even occur to me to try. So at this stage,
Well,
I mean,
even
in
when
theory,
you heard,
I could. Yeah.
even when you heard that it was getting
Yeah.
taken away, you weren't okay. Because I cannot be the only person, right, who, as soon as I read that news about the Brutasaur, was like, better log into my bank account, see what's going on there.
Hold on, let me pull up like my spreadsheets and see like what I need to do every day.
I heard that it was happening, and I literally spent the next 2 hours farming Zinathid in Azeroth. That's what I did. That's what I did. I was like, I've got to be ready. Got to be ready for 8.3 to make the golds at the beginning of the patch. Got to get that 5 million gold. I have a look. I've got.
Are you gonna do it? Are you gonna get there?
I've got 15 max level characters. Okay.
Okay.
Which should be like a gold maker's dream, across all those 15 characters, I've got just over 1 million gold.
Okay.
So basically what I'm saying is, I'm going to need 65 max level characters. Or I can just learn how to make some gold.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Hazel can teach you.
Well, this is the thing, and like, thank you, HAZELNUTTY Games, for her special guest appearance in the intro today. Something we didn't think of, because we know that Hazel's amazing, and we can ask her to do anything, and she will, because she's like the best human ever born. So we just sent her a quick thing going, hey, we thought it'd be a funny thing in the intro if you were running like a gold making 101 class for Tally. So can you just like put yourself in front of a green screen and do some teachery stuff? And she's like, yeah, that sounds awesome. And when she sent us the film, both of us were like, you've got green hair now.
green screen.
Yeah, so
hair,
like
which is
standing in front of a green screen with green hair, and it's like I pressed the button, and most of Hazel disappeared. It was like the background disappeared, but most of Hazel also disappeared, and I was like, I could have just like made her hair black or whatever, but I was like, no, that's doing Hazel a disservice. Okay, I'm not doing that. So what I did instead was I spent 2 hours editing that video, like actually superimposing a flat green colour underneath her hair, which had disappeared, which I'm sure you spotted because it didn't do it very well. It was very late at night, so like moving around with her head. So it's not perfect, but I thought I'll be damned if I don't get Hazel's awesome green hair in this. So that's why it looks weird. But thank you, Hazel. You're the best. Hazel. We love you, and we're definitely going to make a whole ton of gold now. Now I know all about making gold. Oh, I'm doing potions, I'm doing flasks, man. I'm doing like bags and shit, I'm picking stuff. I reckon I'll finish with 1.5 million gold.
See, I like spreadsheets. I use them like in my life, day to day, to like keep track of stuff. But I'm not really into like the gold making mindset, like both in real life and in game. So it's just never gonna happen for me. I'm sorry.
Shucks.
Sorry.
Shucks.
I'll just look at yours, it's fine.
Look at my Longboy.
Yeah. Until it's extinct. I don't know.
Thank you for joining us today. It's been a fun one. I've enjoyed it. Thanks very much.
Me too.
If you enjoyed it, don't thank us. Thank our patrons who give their actual real life money to help all our videos happen. Honestly, as you know, guys, without you, there'd be a whole lot less Taliesin Nevertell. If you didn't enjoy it, though, downvote the shit out of it. Remember, my name is HAZELNUTTY Games.
Yay!
Oh, and happy proper 15th birthday, World of Warcraft.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Yeah. 15.
That's crazy.
What could you, I mean, that's all enough to get married in a lot of US states, isn't it?
What was I doing when I was 15?
Were you getting married?
No.
Oh.
I wasn't doing any of the fun stuff when I was 15, to be honest.
Getting married, the fun stuff.
Yeah. Hey, it was fun for me.
Yeah, it was fun for me too. I was there. No, anyway, I'm not Hazel. My name is Taliesin from me.
And me, Evitel.
Until next time, cheerio.